Welcome to the Landy Peek Podcast. I'm your host and friend, Landy Peek, and I am thrilled to have you join me. In each episode, we will explore what makes life truly fulfilling: happiness, deep connections, and self-discovery. Together, we'll uncover that happiness is not a destination, but a way of living. Now, let's dive into today's episode. Welcome to the Landy Peek Podcast. This is a space where strong women stop caring it all and start reclaiming who they really are. I'm your host, Landy Peek. I'm a therapist, a mentor, and a guide for women in midlife who are ready to move from burnout to freedom. Today's episode is special. I've brought together a panel of powerhouse women from our collaboration, The Village. Each one of them brings a different way to support you in this season. Whether it's reigniting your spark, balancing your hormones, healing people-pleasing, or finding freedom around food. We're going to dive into their stories, their offers, and the wisdom they're bringing to the village so that you can see what's possible for you. Let's get started. Oh my goodness, I want to welcome you all to the Landy Peek Podcast. I am so thrilled that you are here. Today, we have a panel of experts who are participating in our collaboration called The Village. So as we get going, I'd love you each to quickly introduce yourself so that the listener can get to know who's here. And then we'll swing back and let each one of you talk about who you are, what you do, who you serve, and the offer that's inside the village. So I'm just going to go round robin in my panel. Christy, do you want to take it off?
Sure. Thanks, Landy. I am Christy Holt, also known as the Happiness Hussy, because I'm on a mission to spread happiness across the planet. And the main way that I like to do that is by helping women love themselves back to life. And I'm going to leave it right there because this is just a short little intro, and we'll pass it on to the next person, hopefully, little intrigue there.
Yes. And if you have heard Christy before, Christy was on the Landy Peek Podcast a while back. And so you can always go back and reference her interview there, but I'll link that in the podcast. Okay, Michaela.
Hi, everyone. I'm really excited to be here. Thanks for having me on your podcast, Landy. And my name is Misha Palmer. I'm a Midlife Reset Coach, and I will go into everything what I do later on.
Beautiful. Okay, Chelsea.
I am Chelsea, and I have been a physician assistant within endocrinology for the last 8 years and just started my business called Empowered Glucose, where I empower women to take control of their blood sugars and diabetes by supporting and educating.
I love that. Okay, so now we get to dive in a little bit deeper with each of you. We'll swing back to Christy. Can you share who you are, who you serve, all the good details, and then what your offer is inside the village?
Yeah, absolutely. So my focus is on, maybe you know that woman, maybe you are that woman who doesn't feel seen or heard. Typically, I work with people who are feeling these things intensely inside of their relationships, but it can also show up, of course, across many areas of life. This is for women who don't feel like they can express themselves completely. And maybe that's partly because they might have even forgotten who they are at the root of it. And so what I'm including in this package is called the People Pleasers Reset Pack. And this is about helping you to stop abandoning your damn self, right? This is about helping you to become that woman who is seen, heard, and loved and accepted for who you are. This is a journey of resetting your nervous system so you can do things like say no without guilt, right? To set healthy boundaries and to use this to set the creation or to create the foundation of a healthy relationship, whether that be a romantic relationship with friends, family, coworkers, clients, collaborators, all of those sorts of things. It is ultimately, as I said in my intro, about loving yourself back to life. And so this work is a deep, meaningful journey that starts within you. And yeah, you don't have to live on autopilot anymore. So I'm going to leave it there.
I love it. And it's so huge, the work that you do. And so many of us are people pleasers or recovering pleasers.
Recovered. Yeah.
Right? And we don't even realize how much that is impacting our day and our life. I did an interview with somebody on decluttering the other day, and she's talking about how people pleasing behaviors are actually cluttering our house because we get gifts and then we don't feel like we can give them away because we don't want to hurt somebody's feelings. So it's not just impacting relationships, it's impacting our environment. It's such a huge topic.
And it really affects our confidence, right? And I want women out there to be confident and strong and expressing themselves wholly, unapologetically as themselves, because you're already whole. Like, you're not broken. You don't need fixing. You're already whole. But often we humans tend to forget that. And so we kind of go out there looking for things to fix us or to make us whole. The solution's not out there. It's within you.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I could just dive into a whole podcast with you again, Christy.
Yeah. And we will.
And we will. Yes, absolutely. Misha, can you share a little bit about who you are, who you serve, and what offer you have inside the village?
Mhm. So I help women over 35 to reset stubborn weight and get their spark back by aligning their mindset, lifestyle, and their identity so they can feel great in their bodies, they can build confidence and create a future they're truly excited about. And I know what it feels like to lose spark in midlife because I've been there myself. I felt very flat, disconnected, and unmotivated. And on the top of everything, I have struggled with my weight. Every time I lost some weight, I regained it. And I realized that I was living by everyone else's expectations, by societies or my families. And I really couldn't understand why, despite, ticking all the boxes, I still didn't feel fulfilled. So that is really where my journey started. And it felt like I was living every day kind of on repeat, just a lot of responsibilities, to-do list, kind of lost joy from my life. And things that once excited me no longer did. And I'd forgotten to even ask myself what I wanted. And I found myself asking this question, is this it? So is this how the rest of my life will be? And one day I decided, I had enough feeling like this. And I decided to do something about it. And it's when I started to do a lot of self-development, a lot of studying, researching. And in the process, I have become a nutritional coach. And I'm helping women with their nutrition. And it's when I realized a lot of other women are feeling exactly how I was feeling. I'm very stuck, disconnected, or even burned out because they've been busy caring for everyone else and they have lost touch with what gives them joy. And sometimes what used to bring joy no longer fits, right? And you have to rediscover what lights you up now. And that is exactly why I created my 10 Days to Reset Your Spark mini course. It's a gentle step-by-step reset for women who want to reconnect with themselves. And each day you get a short video and a guided exercise. So stuff like journaling prompts, small actions, and mindset shifts. And this helps you to uncover what's out of alignment. And it helps you to get clear on your values, what you want in your life, but also what you don't want in your life. It helps you to break patterns, create vision for the future you actually want. And it covers everything from identifying your inner blocks, setting your mind, your body, to shifting your self-image, to designing basically your future you vision, and building a simple plan to live it. By the end of the 10 days, you walk away with a personalized, what I call spark plan, which is basically a practical, actionable guide to move forward with, motivated with clarity and energy going forward.
I love that. And So the listener can't see that Christy and I are nodding our heads as you're talking. It's like, yes, 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 yes. Felt that in myself, see it in my clients, really resonate. And there is this space in this midlife time where and I don't like identifying as midlife, like that doesn't resonate with me, but late 30s, 40s, where we do kind of lose that spark, where we do start going, who am I? And is this it? And I don't really know what I like anymore. And I love that you're supporting people through that igniting journey to, be able to come through and say, okay, what do I want? How does my identity shift? And it's so funny. So all three of us so far overlap so much in the struggles that we're serving. We're just serving in a really different way. Okay, Chelsea, I am so excited to hear about you.
Yeah. So within my journey within endocrinology, I have really developed a passion for education and supporting people with diabetes and insulin resistance. It is a huge issue, especially in women. I feel like women deal with insulin resistance so much, and it contributes to the weight gain and difficulty losing weight, and all the hormonal changes as we get older. It all kind of plays a part. And I know how overwhelming and discouraging that diagnosis can be, whether it be just insulin resistance or a diabetes diagnosis. And a lot of times, doctors or providers, because of the lack of time in the office, are just given a diagnosis and a meter, even sometimes not even a meter, just a diagnosis, and sent on their way. And it is very overwhelming. They're told to change their diet and exercise, but what does that mean? What do we need to do to modify the diet and exercise to accomplish a lower blood sugar level? How do we monitor blood sugars? What are we really, what are our goals in managing this? So it can be very overwhelming and discouraging. There's a lot of stigma behind having a diabetes diagnosis. And I just want women to feel seen and feel heard, and kind of walk through their challenges with this diagnosis, and just be that person in their corner to encourage them throughout this process. So I do one-on-one diabetes coaching or insulin resistance coaching, where I meet with people weekly and work on education, depending on what level they're at with education, as well as just supporting the women through this process. I really dive into the mental health aspect of it because of the stigma behind it and the overwhelm with it. So I really want to lessen that burden for them, and work through the mindset issues behind that as well. Um, I'm including in the village a Eat with Confidence resource, and that resource is a tool that gives you recipes that will help with insulin resistance. Has snack swaps that you can implement into your day to day to improve your blood sugar. And I just want to encourage women to not, you don't have to eliminate things in your diet. And I want to encourage them to just adjust the diet, and you can have the carbs, but maybe adjust the protein or the fiber, adjust the timing of the carbs, and the mini recipe guide is a first step into implementing that. And then I also have a self-paced diabetes education course that helps with education and the mindset shift within this diagnosis. And it allows you to take the course at your own pace. A lot of people don't have the time to go to an official diabetes education course. And so I created this to allow you to do it at your own pace and allow you to do it at home, especially if you're not ready um, to make that step outside when in front of other women. So yeah, that is basically what I do, and I am super excited about starting the business. I'm super excited about where this journey will lead me.
Oh, that is amazing. I love how you do the whole person approach because
Yeah.
I mean, I do not have diabetes, but I did have gestational diabetes with my
I did too.
like, oh my gosh, I can't eat anything. And
Mhm.
there was no resources, no, like, you get the
Mhm.
diagnosis and kind of told, no, this isn't good. And then what?
Yeah.
I, as a mom, know how much of a struggle it is to get to appointments. I put my appointments are always like last in line, right? You're trying to cram
Yes.
after school time is totally booked with kiddo stuff. But really being able to find that support in the comfort of your own home when you
Mhm.
need it and looking at the whole person. Because while I had support in my midwife helping me kind of focus on what to eat and what not to eat and how to take, my blood sugar and all that, nobody was talking about how this made me feel.
Yeah.
And the shame blame game, uh,
Mhm.
oh my gosh, but I'm healthy. Like,
Yeah.
thought I ate right and I exercised and it blew me out of the water. And I'm sure
Yeah.
a lot of women who end up with a diabetes diagnosis or an insulin resistant diagnosis who are blown out of the water because they think they're doing everything right. And then it's like, how did I go so wrong? Not, no,
Yeah. It's
I may not have even gone wrong. It's just something that occurred inside my body.
Exactly. And a lot of it is a genetic issue, and it's not your fault that you have diabetes or insulin resistance. And that's what I want to bring to the table to help eliminate that stigma and guilt around it because it's not your fault. And I want to make women or help women realize that um, this is something that can change and it's not their fault. And we can work through it step by step. It's not something that we have to change all at once. And um, doing small steps toward our big goal is the key. So, yeah, I also had gestational diabetes for both of my pregnancies, and there was a lot of guilt and shame for me as well, just because I was working in endocrinology. I know how to manage diabetes, and yet I felt so overwhelmed and just lost in the diagnosis. And like I knew what to do. I teach patients all the time about what to do, but when it's happening to you, it's just so different and it can feel so overwhelming. So I just caught a little glimpse of what that feels like for my patients. And so that really spurred my passion for it.
I love that. And I love that all four of us are coming from a background of we've lived it ourselves.
Yeah.
And now we're shifting into helping others because there is a difference, I think, when you're working with a professional who gets it because they've lived it versus understands it because they have book knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
When you have that shame, that blame, you have that like, oh my gosh, is this it in life? Then you really do bring a different level of passion into the work that you do. I am so thrilled to have you here. And we get Katie joining us, which is perfect. Or we'll let her come on. Katie, I am so glad that you got to join us.
I'm sorry.
This is perfect. It's actually perfect timing. We literally had just finished the other three. And here you go. Here we Katie, would you share a little bit about who you are and what you do and what your offer is inside the village.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here and part of the village. I'm Katie Redding. I am the owner of Hormone Health Boss. So I work with women in peri and postmenopause to become the boss of their hormones. So it's really about empowering women with the education, the support, the guidance that they need to get the treatment they deserve. I have been working with women for over 15 years in a coaching capacity. So I started out in metabolic health, helped thousands of women lose weight and kind of get control of their lives. And then over the last few years, really noticed that those same women I worked with are struggling in a different season of life. And no matter what they did, they could not maintain their weight. They couldn't lose weight. Then I hit the same period of life and experienced the same thing. So I've added in functional lab testing to my health coaching practice. And, for women that are struggling to find root causes for their problem, we can certainly go down that route and do some functional lab testing. But for the most part, women just need access to evidence-based scientific information, and they need to be supported and know that they have someone that can help guide them through. I really think that's all they need to be in control. So it's very confusing out there with what is going on, what options are available to them, how to access them. And that's where I come in. So I help them navigate. My offer is the Midlife Boss Menopause Crash Course. And it's just a mini course of I have a bigger program that I offer as a group program twice a year. But this offer is just a little mini course so that women can have some tools ahead of time before going to their doctor and having a little bit of information up front to get that conversation started on the right track and walk into the office more empowered.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Same did you a couple of years ago. Oh my gosh, life is hitting. And this whole, I'm a women's health occupational therapist, so I did public health. So it should have clued in, a little bit more to perimenopause. But menopause is something that I had heard of. Postmenopausal, nobody was really talking about perimenopause and all of the impacts that were going on inside your body. And so as perimenopause hit, I was doing my own research dive to try to figure out, oh my gosh, what can I do? What is going on? Trying to find the best resources, trying to find what's evidence-based versus anecdotal, trying to find the people that I needed to talk to. And I did, but it was a lot more of a struggle of a journey for me where I could have been meeting with you.
Yeah. And as an occupational therapist, you have access to comprehending and understanding information that other women don't. And I was a nurse for 20 years. So my sister always tells me, you're like a sponge and you can listen to a podcast or read an article or statistics and it's in your brain, but most people can't. And what most people need is step 1, step 2, and step 3, right? So that's what I've created in the boss community is a simple, straightforward A to Z. This is how you do it.
Which is huge. And also being able to have labs and the understanding, because you're right. There is that my brain, and it is my background, goes to, well, let's go research this and figure instead of let's go, scroll social media. And there's nothing wrong with that. Social media opens up conversations and it's very valuable. But mine went let's pull up some research and see what I can find. But that still is finding a needle in a haystack.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so we all have overlapping humans that we are serving. And I would love to open it up to you sharing in whatever format you want to share. So it doesn't have to be round robin. What is kind of the biggest struggle that you're seeing women face right now in today's world that you also can support?
I can go first. So I think, from my point of view in terms of nutritional coaching, I see a lot of women struggling with just the amounts of information that is out there and, what is the best strategy for them. And then on the top of that, I'm a firm believer that it's not just about, you can, I mean, or a lot of people know actually what they should be eating and, what their meal plan should look like. And, anyone or online, you can get meal plans and nutritional advice. But it's just not enough. If you don't do the kind of inner work, the mindset shift, and you don't really see yourself as a person who actually is opting for, healthy foods, is doing the exercise, then it's just so difficult to actually change long term. And that is why what I see, so many women regain the weight, because that is the main thing I help women with losing stubborn weight. So that's why I'm so passionate about this kind of spark reset, is all what I call it. Because, also if you're feeling very much like you're feeling flat, disconnected from yourself, you don't have much joy in your life because you are just, it's all about ticking boxes and just going through the day. Then it's very difficult to also feel motivated to actually maintain that weight loss or go on that weight loss journey together with like this nutritional information overwhelm, if you like. So that is what I keep seeing from my clients and the kind of patterns that I see.
Yeah. I mean, there's a huge amount of overwhelm and information, just as Katie and I were touching on right before. And I love how you bring in, yes, we're overwhelmed and inundated. We can, Google search so much, ChatGPT, and, here Dr. ChatGPT will give, whatever you need. And we're struggling with our inner identity and who we are, and how our inner identity is really dictating how we're taking this information and what information we're drawn to and what we do with the information. So we might have loads of information and know what we should, could, or what else, should or could do. And we don't see ourselves as the person that does that. We see ourselves, or if we've lost so in-depth touch with ourselves that we feel flat, that we don't have that spark, that it's like, okay, that's great. And I can't get off the couch. Like, that's it. I have motivation, none. I get my kids to school. I show up for work. I do the bare minimum. I'm exhausted. I try to sleep. And then what? And so I love that you're bringing that inner identity of who we are and who we see we are and how we can, as a whole person, really address our weight. And as we circle around each one of the struggles that we're going through, because it isn't just an island. We're not meant to heal on an island. And it's not just a parts thing. We can't just focus on one part of us and expect lasting changes.
Absolutely. It's so important to get in touch with what we want, what brings us joy. And then it's just so much easier to follow that healthy meal plan and motivate yourself to do everything what you should be doing to lose weight, right? Absolutely. And then what is your also personalized approach. What it's just so much easier to pick the right diet because you know what's right for you. If that makes sense. Yeah.
I love that you get to pick the right diet for you. Because we do get into this black and white thinking where it's like, oh, the experts say I should do this, that, or the other. This is the diet that is ideal for this. And we do get to pick. We do have choice. And just like Chelsea said before, it's not saying you can't eat certain things. It is, let's shift your diet, but it's fitting your lifestyle, fitting who you are. And I love that bigger, broader approach because we do narrow in our focus, especially when we're struggling with something.
I really love that. As women, I feel like we tend to put so much on our shoulders, on our plate. We're getting the kids to school. We are working full time if you work. We're dealing with our own health and insecurities. And I just love that approach. For me, with what I do, I see the overwhelm with certain diagnoses, like insulin resistance and diabetes, and the challenges behind that. And like I said before, it is so overwhelming. And as you guys have mentioned, there's so much information out there, and it's hard um, to be selective on what works for you and what may not work. There's a lot of misinformation out there as well. There's a lot of negativity around insulin resistance and diabetes diagnoses, which contributes to the stigma and the guilt and shame behind it. So I really try to take that whole person approach and just take it one step at a time. It's overwhelming, and there's no reason why you would need to change everything all at once. We're going to take it one step at a time. You don't have to change everything about your lifestyle. We're just going to change one thing and adjust what you currently do to fit more so on what is healthiest for you. And it's very individualized as well. So it's not one size fits all with these diagnoses. So yeah.
I love that. And I want to just add to the conversation that knowledge is cute. It's nice. It's helpful. But embodiment, that's where your true power comes from. And so the struggle that I'm seeing out there is that women feel like they're not good enough, right? This is a constant, I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. I'm too much. Right. And it's this both sides of that paradox that has us stuck in perfectionism and trying to attain something that is frankly an illusion and not something that can be attained. And besides, who's deciding what perfect is anyways, right? That's just a list of coulda, woulda, shoulda. And a lot of women go around trying to be perfect, trying to be the good girl, right? This is the conditioning from our patriarchal society that teaches us that women have to fit a certain role. And, often this leads us to wearing masks and trying to contort ourselves to fit in a box in order to fulfill this so-called women's role. And the truth is, you are so much more than that. And, what happens when you are trying to do this, essentially, this is people pleasing, right? Trying to contort yourself to fit so that other people will like you, so that you will get the outcomes in life that you think will only come from being someone else. A few things happen here. You end up bitter and resentful and frustrated, right? That's number one sign that you're people pleasing, because you're not giving out of abundance, you're giving out of depletion, and that leaves you burnt out and exhausted. Nobody wants that, right? We're living in a world of overwhelm. The world is a very divisive place right now. There's a lot of stress, a lot of moving parts. People are overwhelmed, and they're having a hard time dealing with that overwhelm on top of the life overwhelm, right? And so we can end up really unhappy. And Happiness Hussy here, by the way, happiness is our intended state of being. And so if you're not living a life full of happiness, it's not your fault. So don't take this as a blame and shame game at all. This is an opportunity for you to pull out the magic that you truly are, because your intended state of being, your natural state, is happiness. And if you're suffering, you're having resentment, all of these other things on top of it, that's just going to fog up your view of the intended state of being of happiness. And the truth is, you don't need to be on this endless hamster wheel of either healing or self-improvement that most of us are on. This is because the knowledge is power, but the embodiment piece is missing. Because if you are already whole and know you are whole, which you are, whole and worthy of love, you don't need to keep improving yourself. Now, that said, we are here to grow and evolve, but there's a very different energy behind growing and evolving. And I have to fix myself. There's something broken and there's something missing, and I have to be better, 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 better. Oh, anybody else feel the exhaustion behind that hamster wheel? Let's step off, right? Let's step off that one and step into one where you're already the magical whole being that you always have been. And this is how you're going to start to create the life and love that you are truly deserving of.
I love that. I love how you really identified the difference between our growing journey and getting stuck on this. I have to fix myself. I have to heal myself, because I see that so much. And it has
Been there.
so was I. I bought into all of the, oh my gosh, I have to fix every single limiting belief that I have. I have to fix, my body. I have to fix this. I have to, heal. I'm going to be more enlightened person if I do all of this. And there is a difference in the energy of I am growing and I'm on a journey and I get to expand. And I am trying to solve a problem of who I am.
And it is an identity issue, as
is.
others have touched on. I often say, it's not fill in the blank. It's not a relationship problem, because I talk about relationships. Not a relationship problem. It's an identity problem. And when you're encountering troubles in your relationship, this is because, frankly and lovingly, you've forgotten who you are. Because if you knew who you are at the moment, however you want to say that, you would be acting differently in your relationships. You wouldn't be tolerating mistreatment. You wouldn't be allowing people to step all over your boundaries. And you'd be expressing yourself honestly and unapologetically, setting those boundaries, saying no, asking for what you want and need, though not having expectations of someone else fulfilling those wants and needs, right? That's on you. That's part of your personal power.
Absolutely. And it's really coming into your own personal power. And it's not easy. As we talk about it, we've all been on this journey, and it is not easy. And we do have to kind of look at who we see ourselves, our inner identity, who we are, and also kind of weed through a lot of the stories that we've picked up along the way, the belief systems that we've picked up on the way. But that doesn't mean that we dive into this is wrong. This gets to be a choice of who I want to be in the future.
Freedom.
Yes. I see a lot of women in the transition of perimenopause. I work with both populations, peri and postmenopause, and it really is a pause in women's life. That's what they're starting to realize. And it takes, every woman, they're on a different timeline. But the ones who are starting to get it and getting that empowerment have realized, wait a minute, I need to look at my life and say, what's no longer serving me? It's okay. It's okay to say no. And it doesn't mean that you're a bad person, right? My entire life, I have been I wouldn't say a people pleaser, but I am a perfectionist. And I often compete with myself. And so when I started my personal healing journey, that became very all encompassing. And it was about the to-do list. And am I doing all of the things right? Am I eating right and sleeping right and moving right? And all of that. And those things are important. But like you all said, if we don't address those inner issues, our central nervous system is going to be on the fritz constantly. So I see women in this season needing to take a pause. They need to take a step back. They need to evaluate themselves, their lifestyle, the people around them. And so it really is like a holistic view, right? This isn't about, I just do this one thing and I do it perfectly and that will fix it all. It's our bodies, our minds, our souls, they're all connected. So even when I work with women on their HRT journey, we have to talk about that bigger picture. And a lot of times it is setting boundaries. It is saying, you don't have to be everybody's fixer. You don't have to fix everybody's problems. You don't have to take the weight of your job, your kids schedule, your husband's schedule, your mom and dad, your whatever, right? We're just all these compounding factors. And I think as a whole, women realize they get to this season of life and they're like, wait a minute, I'm really isolated. I've been working so hard to take care of everybody else that I'm here all by myself. It's like you wake up one day and you're like, where'd everybody go? I'm the only one. And I'm responsible for me. And that is overwhelming, right? And I think our world, our internet, our social media has allowed us to think that we can do it ourselves and that we don't need anybody else's help. And that isolates us even further and really leads to prolonging how long it takes to get better. we were not meant to do this life alone. So, connecting with other people, hiring coaches, hiring people that can help you navigate things. Like, I think it's interesting. So many of my women will not hesitate to hire the golf coach for their kid, right? Or the basketball trainer for their kid because their kid wants to be the best basketball player. But they won't hire anybody in their life to help them navigate whatever they're working on, whether that's a nutrition coach or a fitness coach or a HRT coach, whatever it might be. They're so hesitant because they've lived so long depending only on themselves and thinking they can do it on their own. So we have a lot of work to do as a whole.
Yeah. Permission slip to put yourself first. Okay. For anybody listening, you have a broad permission slip. I'm giving it to you. You take it and run with it.
I love how you talked, Katie, around the two things. That we need that pause, that permission to pause in this life space, because that's not something that I was seeing. It was like, okay, HRT, gonna fix this. Oh, wait. There's like more pieces to the puzzle.
It's not magic.
It is not magic, but
it's magical, but it's not magic.
There you go.
Two different things.
There are two different things. But really giving ourselves permission to pause and create those boundaries, say no, start really focusing in on ourselves. But more importantly, that we're not meant to do this as an island, that we have come to this space where we have isolated ourselves unintentionally. And then we're trying to fix it on our own through books, through trying to like piecemeal and try to figure out what we can, pull in. But relying on someone else gets really hard. And I know for myself, I really struggled on sharing my struggles, what was going on with friends, where I could more easily hire the person to rely on. And so I had to tune in and go, oh, wait, I'm like seeking out the HRT specialist. I'm seeking out, who I need, but I'm not sharing my story with the people that are surrounding me. And once I started opening the door and saying, hey, this is what's happening with me, I realized everyone in my network that is of the same age, all of these women that I'm friends with were also going through the same thing, but none of us were talking about it with each other. We talk about the superficial things. We talk about the kids and we talk about the spouses and we talk about work. But like, oh my gosh, I can't get off the couch. And whoa, that rage that just came out. Those weren't things that we were really dialing in until you start opening up those conversations, because we are being perfect. I resonate so deeply with that. And trying to keep that perfection on the outside where we're falling apart on the inside. And that's why we're here together, because we do need to feel supported in community. While we all are supporting a similar human, we're doing it in different ways because each of us have different problems that we're struggling with, things that we want to shift, things that we, need to figure out more answers, but you don't want to go on the research dive by yourself. You want someone that's trusted, someone that's done this, someone that has the knowledge and can really pull it together as a whole person, not just a piece and a part.
Yeah, we read the books so you don't have to, right?
You took the courses. We did
a lot of books.
A lot of books, a lot of knowledge that goes in. And what I learned was I was really good at learning, but swinging back to the embodiment piece that Christy pulled up, I was really good at learning things, but I was not good at taking them in and really living them, embodying those strategies, giving myself, no matter how much I read about perimenopause, the permission to pause, the aha moment of, oh, wait, this is an opportunity for me to really clear out, declutter the things in my life. Like saying yes when I really don't want to, because I don't have to volunteer for everything. I don't have to show up as perfect. I can go to, pick up and drop off, not looking perfect. Giving myself permission to be a mess, giving myself permission to have days where I am just reading a romance novel or binge watching TV. And was I productive, quote unquote productive? Yes, because I really nurtured myself instead of like, here's my output. And I know on my journey, I had to, like when I first was an independent entrepreneur working out of my basement. Like, my husband would come home and I'd be like, and I did this and I did this and I did this and I sent this many emails. And he's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I don't know, because I feel like I need to show something from my work. And there is that shift of like, okay, I don't have to prove that I'm worthy by all of the things that I did, but just by being here and showing up. And that has value.
And isn't it interesting when we do that thing where we get ourselves all worked up and overwhelmed about all the things that we did or are supposed to do or the things on our to-do list? It can really get us into a state of anxiety. And I don't know if anybody else has been through that, but I've been through that a number of times until I realized, like, who's the one? I just paused for a second. Who's the one making this to-do list, this should list? Guess who it was? Me, because I'm my own boss. And most of the stuff on our list, even if we're not an entrepreneur, a lot of those things on our list are things that we're dogpiling on ourselves. We're trying to maintain this semblance of perfectionism. So we're heaping on the expectations. And that just leaves us feeling overwhelmed. So next time you're feeling overwhelmed, I just invite you to take a beat and look at what is on your list and who's putting it there. Because permission to put some of that stuff down and to just take space for yourself. And yes, rest is productive and necessary, despite what the world may have told us in the past.
Absolutely. As we're coming to a close, I would love if each of you could share valuable knowledge, words, encouragement to the listener. Do you want to go first?
Absolutely. So it's so important to really find your inner compass. And that is, what I was talking about in terms of my SPAG reset. And that is exactly what you find in the mini course. And I just want to share that what my kind of big finding was on my journey is that you can have all the nutritional advice, all the meal plans you want, because meal plans alone don't work long term if you're feeling flat or disconnected. When you know what you truly want and you're excited about your future, it becomes so much easier to make healthy choices and stick to them. You basically stop forcing yourself and start becoming the woman who naturally nourishes herself, moves her body and feels proud of her habits. And that is not through willpower, but because it's simply who you are now.
Oh my gosh, I love that. It's not through power. It's simply who you are now. That's very powerful.
Exactly. It's who you are becoming and who you are right now. One simple step every day. If you're taking just one simple step every day towards your future self, that is what I love the future self coaching and becoming and taking step every day now who you want to become, even one simple step that really compounds to a long term.
Would anybody else like to share a last parting word?
Sure, I'll share. I'm just going to kind of piggyback on that a little bit and just remind people that motivation is something that you don't want to sit around waiting for, because motivation is something that comes when you start taking action. It follows your movement. That's how you stay motivated to take action and lead to the intended outcomes. And I also just wanted to share that this isn't about becoming someone else. You're already perfect just as you are. And I know we talked about perfection, not that kind of perfection, but the way you're designed is perfect for you. And that makes you perfect. Not perfect in the world, just perfect for you. So invitation, because the way I see it is that authentic expression is the key to your happiness. It's the key to finding relationships that really fit with you. And that authenticity, that starts with you. This is an inner job, right? This happiness comes from within. Everything that you're experiencing is a reflection of, your perception of it. And so invitation to give yourself permission to, stop performing, stop wearing the mask, stop trying to be someone else or become someone else, and just be you. And if you're not sure what that looks like, invitation to step into some sort of self-discovery or, increased awareness. A guide can help you do that. That's the work that I do as well. But it doesn't have to be me. It could be a therapist or a trusted friend or someone else, someone that you trust to just walk this journey with you because, like we hinted on before, we are not meant to do this alone. It's a solo project, okay? It is a solo project, but you're not meant to do it all by yourself.
I love that. Just piggybacking off of that, I just want to say that you do not have to do this alone. Whether you're dealing with perimenopause, insulin resistance, finding yourself, you do not have to do it alone. And a lot of these things can feel overwhelming and scary, and you might not know where to start, but it truly does take a village. And I think that, reaching out to somebody, whether it's a coach or a friend or a family member, someone that you trust to be in your corner, I think that is so important.
And I would just say, I hear from women all the time how hard life is, and it doesn't have to be. I think we make it harder than it needs to be by taking on too many things, by not leaning on our community, leaning on support systems that are available to us, right? When we try to do all the things on our own and do all the research on our own and piecemeal all the things together on our own, that adds to just running on that hamster wheel. And it feels like we're getting nowhere. So, when you open up to your community and when you seek out, I don't know if I want to say alternative methods, but, the non-traditional sources, we've been trained for decades that when something is wrong in our life, we go to a doctor. We go to our primary doctor or a specialist, or we go to a therapist. And those could be the right next step. But in most cases, like, a lot of the work is done inside of ourselves or done with some type of coach to work us through it. And we don't have to rely on the traditional methods. There are a lot of options available. And I think right now for women, the confusing thing is there's so many options, but here's my advice, like, find one and stick with it, right? Stop bouncing around. Stop changing week to week to week. A new meal plan, a new exercise plan, a new coach, a different coach, a new doctor. Stop. We have to put that down and select the right next step for ourselves for right now and stay consistent with that so we can measure, is it working? Is it not working? Do we need to pivot? But we have to give it some time, and we have to be more patient and not try to rush the process. We're all on a journey, and we're going at it at different rates. And we can't compare ourselves constantly to other people and how fast they're getting somewhere. That is what we need to kind of put down and give ourselves a little bit more grace.
Yes, incredibly wise words. And I'm so glad you brought up that, yes, traditional methods and kind of where we go can be really supportive. But a lot of our journey I love the word and instead of but, and a lot of our journey is working with somebody and with ourselves and having that trusted, supported person who gets it, who has lived it, really does make a difference. And when we're walking alongside someone versus hearing knowledge or diagnoses from someone, it can be life-changing. And so really giving yourself that pause, allowing yourself to put down the shoulds, because I think we all want those instant results. And it's like, oh my gosh, this didn't work today, and I only started it yesterday. So I need to find something different. But allowing ourselves time to work with somebody, to work with ourselves, to try and see what does shift, because nothing is shifting overnight. We don't have magic wands, although we do want them. And it does take some time, and the time is key. The persistence is key. I want to thank each one of you for being here today, for being part of the village. You are such incredibly wise women, and your words today, I know, changed lives. I will have each one of your contact information down in the show notes, as well as you can find all of these incredible women inside the village, and that link will be in the show notes as well. I want to thank you so much for being here and for doing all the incredible work that you do in this world. Thank you for joining us for this powerful conversation with the women of the village. Every voice you've heard today represents another doorway into your own journey and empowerment. The resources that they've created inside the village, and I've linked everything for you in the show notes, are powerful and a way for you to get the support that you need within this busy, crazy life. If today's episode spoke to you, please share it with a friend. We're changing the conversation about this mid-space of life, our 30s, 40s, and 50s. And the more that we talk, the more that we rise, the more that we feel seen and heard and not alone. And remember, this isn't about fixing you. You're whole and complete and incredible. It's about coming home to who you've always been. Give yourself permission to pause, to receive support, and take one small step toward the future that you want. I'm Landy Peek. I want to thank you so much for listening. You are incredible, and I am so grateful that you're here. Until next time, I invite you to stay curious, stay kind to yourself, and keep reclaiming your life. We'll talk to you on the next episode. Hey, before you go, just a little bit of legal. This podcast is designed for educational purposes only. It is not to replace any expert advice from your doctors, therapists, coaches, or any other professional that you would work with. It's just a chat with a friend, me, where we get curious about ideas, thoughts, and things that are going on in our lives. And as we're talking about friends, if you know someone who would benefit from the conversation today, please share, because I think the more that we open up these conversations, the more benefit we all get. So until next time, give yourself a big hug from me and stay curious, because that's the fun in this world.